Welcome to the CWC podcast with your host, David Selby, Justin Reed, and Andy Horton.
All right, welcome into the CWC podcast, the official podcast of the Chuckwagon channel. We are your go-to for Chuckwagon racing news, rumors, interviews, and stories, and also just a great way to kill some time. I'm your host, David Selby, joined by my co-hosts, Justin Reed and Andy Horton. What's up, guys?
How's it going?
Fantastic.
Man, it's good to see your faces. I'm excited for today's episode. We're going to be talking about the National Championship Chuckwagon Races, the granddaddy of them all. And later, we're going to have the founders of Chuckwagon racing as we know it, specifically the National Championships, Dan and Peggy Eoff. So that's going to be a great host. Those are friends of mine. Everybody knows them, right? So it's going to be fun to pick their brains just a little bit about the upcoming event. We're recording on Thursday, August 1st, and we just published our Chase Outlaw interview talking about his involvement with the National Championships, especially the second annual Chase Outlaws Chuck and Buck, the rodeo on grass, bull riding like you've never seen it before with no fences. It's a great interview, so if you haven't already taken it in, head over to the Chuckwagon channel or YouTube and have a listen. It's a great episode. We release a new episode every Thursday on the Chuckwagon channel for our subscribers to enjoy, and then we share publicly on Fridays on YouTube. Our episodes are always pre-recorded and edited for Justin's profanity, of course, so make sure to relive the ride at chuckwagonchannel.com and subscribe to our monthly or annual membership so you can consume all the Chuckwagon racing content. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube using the handle at Chuckwagon Channel. So what's up, guys? How you doing today?
I'm doing pretty good. How are you?
I cannot complain. It's like today's August 1st, it's like, holy cow, we are right back in it. We are heading towards Clinton, Arkansas again. We've got a lot on our plates. I mean, I'm talking to you guys constantly. There's so much coming up to look forward to this year. I've been bantering back and forth with both of you privately and in the same thread, on and off, all day. Andy just knocking out tech solutions over here. You can see some of it right behind him.
Yep. We are playing with tablets and switchers and microphones and cables and all sorts of fun stuff.
All that high-tech gear.
Oh, yeah. This is causing absolutely no stress whatsoever.
And the best thing about it is until we get to the races, all the work you guys are doing is free. And that's my favorite kind of work. But in all seriousness, I appreciate you guys. I think we've got a lot of cool stuff coming up for the races this year. It's exciting. We're trying to move some things around so that we can host the podcast there at the championships, so that we can have a booth, so that we can be getting some merch out there to people. We've just got a lot of things that we're trying to get lined up right now, so it's pretty exciting. How are you guys feeling about today's interview?
This is the interview, right? I mean, this is the OG. So, and like we know them and we see them every year and we talk to them, but actually just talking to people at the Chuckwagon races or at Clinton at the event, it's amazing how many people that we talk to that don't know them at all or haven't heard their story even as many times as they've been talked to or interviewed. It's amazing how many people don't know.
Yeah, and it's kind of funny because there are a lot of people who feel like they know them for sure, because they see them, in the interviews, they see them around the Bar F Ranch during that week. And when you have an encounter with Dan or Peggy, it's a very personal encounter. They're just like, everybody is family to them, and they truly are those kind of people. And so it's like Danny Newland says in the Great Wagon Race docuseries, he says, I could say that Dan Eoff's my best friend, but Dan Eoff's everybody's best friend. And it's
right.
It's so true. He's just he's a good guy. People love him, and he's really just, he's got a heart for generosity and giving, and he just opens his ranch and opens his property and all of his resources and his amenities to everybody that just come in and jump in the pool. Water's warm. That's how he is. He's that kind of guy.
What's
So
incredible is that, you look at how big this event is and how big it has been over the years, and it's just, you're talking about the 39th year. You're talking about something that is huge for the state of Arkansas, and of course huge for Clinton. Nothing like it ever has happened in Clinton, and the fact that they're as humble as they are and as just nice as they are, I remember the first time that I met them, and I didn't even know who they were at the time, but the first time I met them was at that Western store right there off the freeway,
right, yeah,
and I didn't know them from Adam, but they were just as nice as could be. And of course, I figured out who they were later, and I was like, oh my gosh, I was feet away from somebody that, of course, the way we see it is, a huge. They're very impactful for the sport. So it's almost like you look up to them, and other people look up to them, and so somebody like that, to be feet away, not knowing it, and for them to be as humble and nice as they are. I mean, it's incredible to see that there's still some humanity in this world.
yeah, absolutely. No, I totally agree. They're very much they're humble, like you said, and they're working people. They haven't gone and created some huge thing that just put them on the retirement list at an early age. I mean, these guys work hard. They have a ranch, they have the furniture store, and if you're ever there on a day that is not chuckwagon racing, they're working. I've been there trying to get interviews before, and they're like, David, can you come help us unload this thing out of this furniture load that we just got in? I'm like, yeah, sure, I'd love to lift 1,000-pound table and move it inside with you guys. That's great, and that's the kind of people they are. And what's cool about people like them is they humble the people around them as well. And so I just love people like that. I consider them family for sure. And I think a lot of people do, but I really do. I mean, I've worked so closely with them over the years on their DVD that it's been a staple in my year every year since 2009. I'm spending whatever 3 months, maybe 4 months, depending on how quick I'm working, on their DVD every year, and that's just crazy that it went from being this thing that was kind of a job to hey, we just created a streaming platform and a docuseries and a podcast and all these things that are completely based around what they started. So anyways, let's get right into the news and notes here, because I know those guys are going to be ready to get on here pretty soon. So following up on our last show, when we talked about the B&B Chuckwagon races, we let the viewers know about the tough wreck that Nova Burkhalter had, that she was injured in. The good news is she had surgery to repair her pelvis, and it was successful. It's a tough surgery, and it's a tough place to be injured because it's right in the middle of everything. If you're going to try to stand up, everything's going through that part of your body. So she is sitting down or less for the next 8 to 10 weeks. And so Gerald, her husband's going to be on double duty, either driving those Reds, getting ready for Clinton in the classics, or he's going to be driving Nova around in that wheelchair. So he's a great guy, and everybody that knows him would say the same. And actually, I read a Facebook post from Nova yesterday saying he's just been relentlessly awesome as a partner for her in a tough time like this. So she's well taken care of, and there's prayers are flying in from every direction. So get better soon, Nova. I should share that according to Andrea Frelix, Nova is already talking about getting back in the wagon too. So, that's the Chuckwagon Racers mentality right there. So the season finale of the Great Wagon Race, the documentary series, is officially available on the Chuckwagon channel. If you want to get really hyped up for the Clinton race, get over there and have a watch. And we also have episode 1 now streaming for free on the Chuckwagon channel. So if you haven't had the chance to get started on the series, you don't have an excuse anymore. Go over there, take in the first episode, and get a taste of what the national championships and the history of that event are like. With season 2 on the horizon, we want to make sure that everyone it sees the quality that we're this quality series that we're putting together, and it's just going to get better with season 2. So there's a lot to look forward to. Okay, let's talk about
this. It's
Go ahead.
not home movies, you know. It's not your grandma's handy cam. It's this is actually some really cool stuff, and a lot of work has gone into this. So absolutely.
Oh, yeah, man. I mean, we had 10 people down there last year, and we'll have even more this year. You talk about all these high-tech cameras that we're going to be running around with, covering the event, got the drone in the air. You know, it just gets a little bit better every year. And I just know that the docuseries is going to follow that trend. And so yeah, let's talk about the national championships for just a minute here before we get Dan and Peggy in here. For those of you that are not familiar with the National Championship Chuckwagon Races, we're going to give you an idea of what you can expect. And I'm going to let Justin kick it off here to talk a little bit about the race format.
Yeah, of course. So you've got 10 days, and it's leading up to Labor Day weekend, which falls on September 1st this year. There are 5 wagon divisions, 3 days of races, and they have a mile Snowy River race and a half-mile mule race. Each division will have multiple heats, and running 4 wagons in each heat. The 4 wagon teams in each heat will circle a barrel. They'll run their specific track, and those heats they'll run each day, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. The best times across the weekend, so for the division, the best time for the division across the entire weekend will earn the national championship buckle in their respective divisions.
That's awesome. Yeah. And it's a really cool format. If that doesn't make total sense, just make sure that you are there on Thursday before they get started with the national championships on Friday, because they have what they call the rookie runoff on Thursday. And it starts at the same time, 1 o'clock. That's how the races are every day. They're going to start the rookie races, and you're going to see these new teams coming and competing to try and earn a spot in the big show. And they're actually going to get to run 2 times on Thursday afternoon, 2 races, 1 day, and the best time in each division will get to move on into the weekend Granddaddy of them all, National Championship Chuckwagon Races. And it's something that these rookies that are trying to rookie in are very excited about, a little anxious, I might say. When we were out there last year, we even got a GoPro on one of the wagons and got a mic on one of those girls, and for a land rush team. And I mean, they are hyped up, and they're running fast. I mean, if you go and you're getting interested, if you're interested in like the Calcutta, where you put your money where your mouth is on who you think's going to win, it's good to see those rookie races, because some of those teams are coming in hot. And when they get put into that national championship level, they're as excited as anybody. And some of these guys that have been doing it forever, maybe they're a little bit rusty, a little bit, I don't want to say they're complacent, but they might be just laying back, chilling out just a little bit in their experience. And then you get these younger teams coming in, and they want it, and it stirs the pot a little bit. It makes it exciting. So, what are a couple of things you guys are excited about for this year's race? I'm curious to know.
I am always excited to see what happens with our rookies, because we actually, like you said, we've seen some, especially like in buckboards. I know we've seen some rookies come in and just take everything. So that's always exciting. That as far as the races. As far as the other stuff, we've got some different stuff planned this year. So I think people that are hanging around the pavilion and possibly around the saloon are going to have a view that they have never had, that no one has ever had of the races. So I'm excited to see what we can do with that too. It's starting to look like it's going to come together, and now I'm finally starting to get excited about it. So that's cool.
Absolutely.
I'm definitely excited about that. I'm excited that we'll bring that whole new perspective to some of those people that hasn't been able to see it yet like that, and allow for more people that are around the up on top of the hill, allow them to actually see the race, where sometimes, there's so many people out there, they can't even get a good view of the race. But what I'm also excited for, that buckboard division, I'm excited to see Full House. I'm excited to see Full Throttle Loca. I'm also excited to watch the Classic division. I'm excited to see where Trump Train comes in, where Derek Hands comes in. But
Yeah.
I'm excited to see what's going to happen, and I think it'll be a good race regardless.
Absolutely. So yeah, as far as the stuff I'm looking forward to, I just love getting down there and seeing all the people that I've known for years. Having this is gonna be my 16th year, and all the people that I've gotten close to over the years. I may not see them all year, I may not talk to them all year, but it's so cool when you get down there and you just pick right back up. And I know it's the same for everybody that goes down there. And being involved with the association this last year, going to so many other Chuckwagon racing events as the Chuckwagon channel. You just start making relationships and friendships, and that is such a cool part of it, because now, like you said, you know those people, and you're rooting for them, and you have to you almost have to make sure you're staying head down on the camera so you don't get caught up in the race too much, because that's happened to me before. Fortunately, we'll have several other cameras running, but you want to get the shot. But I am also mostly excited for the buckboard, partially because I know the people that are coming in that I'm rooting for, but I also, we're shooting for that this year. We're going to be covering that story up close and personal with the second docuseries, or the second season of the docuseries. And I'm excited to see what those heats are going to be looking like whenever Dapple comes out with them. And, Dapple's really good about getting all those times and organizing all those heats so that you see, who's in what heat. And whenever we know, we'll be pushing that out to you guys. Whether or not that's before the races is beyond me. But if it happens, if we get some information that we can leak out to you guys, you'll hear it here on the podcast for sure. So, man, we could reminisce and talk about the national championships all day. But I'm going to go ahead and send the message out to Peggy. Tell her to get into this meeting. Hopefully, we made it easy for them to navigate their way onto the show. Dapple said she had to go to a rodeo that she's going to take in with Zane, and they're going to enjoy themselves on a Thursday night. So Dan and Peggy are left with the computer on their own. So we're hoping that that they have a teenager nearby to do some troubleshooting if anything goes wrong.
You didn't
I know,
send them a tutorial?
Yeah. No, it's very much like any other Chuckwagon event. You just get in the wagon and go. That's how it goes. But I know Dapple said that their internet was down like this afternoon, and so they were sweating it just a little bit. We were sweating it just a little bit that we might not be able to do this today. So let's hope that they find their way in here. Hey, in the meantime, let's take a second and just reach out to our sponsors. As you can see, they don't exist yet, but this could be you. So, oh man, tastes delicious. That could be your beverage. If you are interested in sponsoring the CWC podcast, reach out to us at chuckwagonchannel@gmail.com and let us know what your ideas are, because we want to create cool content for people and promote your brand as well. For many, there is no need for an introduction for Dan and Peggy Eoff, but they started a Labor Day weekend tradition back in 1986, and at the time, it was just a handful of their friends at their home on the Barrow F Ranch. They, along with the small town of Clinton, Arkansas, had no idea what this spark ignited. Well, Dan may have known, but fast forward to 2024, and they are preparing to host the National Championship Chuckwagon Races for the 39th time. And you can expect to see over 20,000 race fans, 180 plus race teams, and over 6,000 horses and mules on the ranch. This thing has grown into one of the largest equine events in the world, and I've had the pleasure of capturing the excitement with them for over 15 years now. So to say that they are my friends would be an understatement. If it isn't for these guys, there would be no national championship event. There would be no Chuckwagon channel. There would be no docuseries or podcast. And we probably would all have a lot less friends. So Dan and Peggy, welcome to the podcast.
Hey, David.
So how are you guys doing today, by the way? I know we couldn't get video to work, but it's good to hear your voices.
we're doing hot. It's hot down here. Trying to get ready. But we've got the grounds all about ready. It's going to be a good race this year.
Yeah, I think it's been a good year for some rain, at least up here in Missouri. It's been pretty good.
We had a lot of rain. We're cutting our hay right now, and the river's running. The river's flowing pretty good, and it's going to be green this year.
You got to love that. It's a little more padding. Hey, speaking of padding out there, a little bit of green grass. We had Chase Outlaw on the show a couple days ago. He had a lot of good things to say about you guys, by the way. He's very appreciative of letting him do some stuff there on the ranch. But it was fun to have him on and recap the Chuck and Buck from last year, where you guys came down off the bluff for just a moment there to see some of the action up close. And apparently a bull escaped. For our listeners that don't know, what happened there?
Well, they told us that they had something they wanted to present to us, and I never leave the bluff after Monday, never. So we go down there, and we're just near Dan's ahead of me, and just all of a sudden he says, "Get back, Peggy!" And he dives under the wagon. We were right beside a wagon, and this bull just comes running out, and that was okay. That was fine. And then you have to worry about the pickup man. I looked up, and there's like 6 of them, like just coming right at me. So that scared me more than the bull. It's just like you just react right there. But
Yeah.
I have decided, yes, no, I will not be off the bluff after Monday ever again. I know my place.
It's a little bit hard to see on the video, but it kind of looks like Dan, like his first instinct was to just grab you and pull you down under the wagon and get you to safety.
I love that. That's what I told her, and she hadn't believed me. Thank you, David.
Yeah. What are you going to believe? Your lying eyes, or what he tells you?
Well,
Tell me.
there's two sides to every story, and there's always a little bit of room for a judgment call at Clinton. So, so you guys be the judge. The video is out there. Some might say that Peggy is a professional bullfighter, and
I am. Yeah. I
and
must have been in a previous life.
Must have been.
incredible. I mean, that was one of the most exciting things to see come out of that event that nobody would have expected to happen, and who better for it to happen to, of course, than the two people putting the event on. Just that bull found you. That was incredible. Well, looking back at the first year when you guys decided that you were going to have a wagon race, how did it come together? What was the spark, and how did you guys go about organizing it that first year?
We didn't organize anything. We just had a party. We were just having a party, and the word got out that we were having a party, and
Free chicken, free beer.
Yeah.
And y'all come over.
you know how it is.
And,
You say, "Oh, there's gonna be beer." Yeah, I would have come.
we was all young, and some of the guys from downtown, some of the older guys came over and helped us cook. And gosh, I don't know, and we just had a good time, and they watched and went holler, "What do you want to see next? Okay, boys, line them up." And then we got to thinking, maybe let's promote this thing a little. So we kind of started promoting it a little, kind of making some rules up and kind of getting maybe a performance together. And it just started from there.
Yeah, Dan, Dan can't just sit around and watch anything. He has to be doing something. So he said, we all have wagons and horses and mules. Let's, we'll have your party, because it was our turn to have the party. And he said, well, we'll invite the Fish Mountain Bunch. They have wagons, and Danny and Dave Brown, all of our buddies, we go on wagon rides and stuff. And so we had that, and Danny was announcing the 100-head bull riding that we had up here in Clinton back in the day, and he said, "Oh, hey guys, there's gonna be a party over at the Oaks, y'all on Sunday. Y'all come on." And they tried, or a lot of people tried to come. And if you've ever been up Shake Rag Road, that hill used to not be paved. It used to just be a pig trail, and a lot of people couldn't get up there, and had to. They spun out their wagons, or their trailers spun out, and the next time Dan went to the coffee shop, that's all they could talk about. Said, "Oh man, Dan, we heard y'all had a heck of a time. You've got to have another one. We missed it. We couldn't get up the hill." And so Mr. Wheels Always Turning, he says, "I think we could make some money at this if we promoted it a little bit."
It won't cost nothing to put one of these on, honey. It won't be like a rodeo. We don't have to have lights. We don't have to have a bleachers. We don't have to have nothing. It won't cost nothing to put it on. Go ahead.
Yeah, famous last words.
Famous last words.
But
Sounds like one of those. Sounds like one of those marriage conversations.
yeah. And so the next year we decided we'd have one. We made up some posters, and every Saturday and Sunday we'd hop in the truck and we'd go around to all the surrounding counties, and any feed store or grocery store or whatever that would let us put up a poster, we put up posters. And boy, we just knew we were going to have a crowd.
We're going to have 3,000 people or more. Golly.
We just knew it.
We just knew it. We fixed well, no,
we had buffalo. We were going to have barbecue buffalo.
We fixed for 2,000. I probably had 300 or 400 people show up.
We ate barbecue buffalo
all winter.
Oh my gosh.
Oh wow.
We was disappointed, trash everywhere. I mean, it was a disaster in a way.
Man.
So for those that don't know, where for y'all did it first come up? We're gonna do a wagon race. Like, did y'all see that somewhere, or did it just happen?
We were going on vacation, taking a little trip to Montana, and Dave Brown and his wife, they went with us. And Dave and I've rodeoed all through the South down here, Texas, Oklahoma, Kansas. So when we stopped at Cheyenne, watched a performance, and got ready to leave, Dave said, "Wait a minute. Let's wait and see them wagon races. I've never seen a chuck wagon race." I haven't either, except up here. So we watched a chuck wagon race, and that was the last week in July. That's when we got back home, when we decided, why don't we have a wagon race? We got all the wagons, and we go somewhere about every week riding our wagons. And that's kind of where it came from. And I wanted to think, why don't they race wagons down in the States? They race them in Canada, a big deal. It's professional. But we don't race them down here. We've never heard of them. So I think that was one of our advantages, that we started an event that we didn't have any competition. Nobody had one. If you want to see a wagon race, you got to go to Clinton. So that's kind of how it got started, because we didn't have another way we can do with our horses. We've got our friends like Dyke Johnson. He's a team pinner. Benny's a calf roper and horse trainer. Then we've got Doyle Scroggins, a trail rider, and we got the mule people that trail rides with mules. So we're going to start an event that we can have a chuck wagon race with our different animals. We started a new event, instead of team roping or calf roping or trail riding. We've got an event now. We can have chuck wagon races with our horses, and we have a lot of our contestants. That's all they do with horses, is they just have a wagon race. They come to the wagon race. They don't rope, they don't trail ride, but they wagon race. Really, we started a new event.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. That's one of the things that's so impressive about the national championships, and not just the national championships, but really kind of the sport that has kind of spread out and gone into the association and these other outlaw events. That all comes out of the bottom of what you guys started. And so it really is, it's a new sport. All things considered, it's about 39 years old in the way that it's being raced right now. And I think that's so cool. And, And it's cool to look back and see that footage from those first years, to see those wagons, because we're racing these classic wagons now that are the perfect throwback to our Western heritage and everything like that. But that's not actually what you guys were racing in the first couple of years there, correct?
No,
We raced whatever we had.
whatever we had, rubber tires. We couldn't afford a wooden wheel car. They cost, $700 or $800 back then. We didn't have that, but we could go buy a case of beer and a welder, and one weekend, 3 of us could put one together. Go to the junkyard and get some frames there. One of Ronnie Hubbard and them from Marshall, Dr. Hubbard, he was racing with us, and he brought his granddad, that Hope boy, brought his granddad's wooden wheel wagon down and said, now we're not going to run it real fast. We don't want to tear it up. Well, the gun went off, and we started around the barrels and going for the finish line, and they got a little ahead, and they turned them loose. And that kind of convinced us that it's exciting to try to win.
The sound of those
The
wheels.
sound.
Yeah, that clatter, clack, 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 clack. Yeah.
There's a woman from Kansas came about the 3rd year, and she came up. She said, I'm kind of disappointed. I thought I'd see some real wagons, not rubber tarred wagons. That kind of embarrassed me. I said, I'll tell you, we'll have the classic next year. And we did. And we gathered up about 7 or 8 classic wagons. And it just went on from there.
Well, that's one of the best decisions you ever made, because I think that a lot of people, I've interviewed a lot of people over the years coming to your event, and probably 8 or 9 times out of 10, if I'm asking them what their favorite division is, they are going to say, you just can't beat the classic. That's something special. It's something unique. You feel the thunder from the track. You just feel the thunder from those wagons in your chest when it goes by. It's surreal, and you have to see it in person. We can only do so much with video. You gotta get down there and see it. But I'm going to keep moving here. I want to keep asking some more questions, because this is great. I just love getting you guys' responses. It's so interesting to hear about people that have built something like this, because how many people can really say that they built something like this? I mean, it's one of a kind. So I want to know, at what point along that journey of building this event, I know you said it was a lot of hard work. I know, Dan, you alluded to, your sarcasm alluded to, it wasn't a big money maker at first. So what are some of the pain points of not only starting an event like this, but hosting an event like this every year? Because people are showing up and they're camping and they're enjoying themselves all week. But what's happening behind the scenes to make sure that this all goes smooth?
Oh man. People say, oh, you and Dan, y'all just do, the best. And it's just like, it's not 2 people,
It's not 2 people.
We got, oh my goodness. And it's so funny. Like, Wes Newland came in yesterday, I think, to the store to buy some boots or something. Well, he's our insurance agent, and it just clicked to me that I hadn't called to say, Wes, we need to get our insurance for the races. And I said, Wes, have we got any insurance? He said, I've already got it started. And so, everybody has their job, I guess you would say, a job, or, they know what they're supposed to do. And they just do it. Like Tommy Bonds, the guy that he does the porta potties for one thing, but he also does a lot of the backhoe and getting the roads ready and stuff like that. Well, he knows what to do, and he knows what time it is to do it. And like right now, Dan said we're cutting our hay. The same guy and his family have done our hay for forever, and they know when to come, and they just do it. And
Steve Nunnally's going around the track. He's going around with his dozer in the backhoe today to ride to town to check that. I didn't have to tell him. He just knows. Then I'll take care of the ride to town. And it just, everybody, the boys from El Dorado, Trips and them, they're working on the
poker run
and poker
things like
run.
This. Yeah.
Just everybody falls in place, to do it.
Yeah, it's incredible. It's definitely takes a village to put the thing on, and it's been cool over the years to see all those different players that that are all those people that are doing something. And last year I would have interviewed, the arena director, Marcus Ulrich,
Yes.
and and his twin, and then you've got James Reed, and you've got kind of, I guess it almost seems like that's the second generation of people that that kind of came
It
up,
is.
and you see them kind of filling in those spots and doing the jobs, and they just very much they assume the role every year. It's a staple for them. It's a part of their lives, and I think that's one of the that's such a compliment to what you guys have built, to see people that it's just part of their lives. And you interview people and they say that this is their vacation. They come there every year, and that's their great escape. And what's crazy is they bring their livestock. Everybody brings their horses and their mules and their dogs, and some people bring other weird animals too. But it's so neat to see people come there and kind of work. They're dealing with their animals and everything. It's part of it's like a labor of love a little bit when they come down there. But I wanted to ask you guys a question, kind of still throwing it back a little bit. So when the races first started in that first 5 or 10 years or so, was there a prize for the champions? Was it always a buckle? And how's that changed over the years?
No, the first year, of course, Dan, he's been in the rodeo business, like I said, I wanted to have a party. I didn't care anything about a big production, but he said, all right, if we're going to have this race and rope it, we roped some wild cows. And so he said, we've got to give him something. So the first year we went to Walmart and we got 3 windbreaker jackets for the team that was the wagon race winner. And then we got 3 jackets for the roping.
The roping.
And I don't know, did we give buckles the second year?
I think we did.
We did. After that, everybody, yes, because remember Dave Brown said I never got a buckle.
And they won the first one, so we turned around and got Dave Brown and Gary. I guess Danny Newland ran with them.
Yeah.
They're to the age they'll never win a buckle. They were good cowboys and they rode some, but never won a buckle. And so I said, we're going to get them a buckle.
Yeah, we did. Yeah, so just the first year they got jackets. And then, I can't remember, we had our feed store then, and Prime Quality Feeds kind of sponsored us, and we gave them sacks of feed or something. If you don't make a lot of money, you can't give big prizes. But we learned right off that it's not about the money. They want to run in front of a crowd, get their name called out, and just be the champion.
One of the things that I think I would really be blessed to do is we don't have an entry fee. We don't pay any cash money. We're not professionals. We're not the world champion. I know I've been in some of them rodeo associations where they call the world champion. They have 3 or 4 world champions. Well, we're not. Canada's the world champion. We're the national. We're amateur. We're no entry fees, no cash money. We're running for the title.
Yeah,
and when we rodeoed, I've rode at Cheyenne and Fort Worth. I wasn't going for the money. I was trying to win the title. When you get professional, you go for the money. But 90% of us don't ever win enough money to go. So let's cater to the ones that don't win. Let's just cater to the guys. Harold Underwood, how old is he? He's been running for, this is his 39th year. We cater to Harold Underwood just as much as we do the fastest team there. He's just as important to us because there's no money involved.
Because they were the ones that came in the early years to help us to put on a show, to build this thing. So, if it wasn't for them, we wouldn't be here.
And we're not going to have a $300 entry fee where they can't pay because they can't win.
Right. No, I think
so. They're invited.
It's a beautiful thing, though, and it's almost something that you couldn't have planned for. If you're, we asked Chase Outlaw the other day, what would your advice be for people that are starting these events or maybe starting rodeos and trying to build something? Because he's become kind of a promoter in his later years in his career, and that's where he's going. And he mentioned, getting out there, creating content, social media, communicating with people and in your extended networks. And then he mentioned having a prize for people, a cash prize or whatever. And that is so common. That is the thing that people go after. But one thing that sets the National Championship Chuckwagon Races apart from other events of this caliber is like the why behind why the racers do it. And it's not about the money to them. And so why do you think people get so pumped up about racing to Clinton?
The crowd. Watch me. I'm the man of the hour. Me and my team, I got a little team of pony mules, and they're as fast as lightning. And this guy named Danny Newland and Dean Holman, they're calling out my name in front of 20,000 people. Golly, man, I'm the man of the hour. And gosh, that just makes you want to be seen. You want to be acknowledged.
Yeah, and they have fun.
They have fun.
But they do. These are racers. I'm going to say 90% of them, except, there's the ones that are really psyched up and they want to win and stuff. Most of them know that we're not going to win, but let's go. It's our vacation. Let's, we're going to ride and have fun.
I noticed the other day with Murdoch. Perry Murdoch was on there, and you was showing all these racers, and they was laughing, having fun. And I recollected back when I was rodeoing, I would go to a PRCA professional rodeo, and it was about the job. Nobody was laughing. Nobody was having fun. It was about winning money. And I never did like that part. Then I would go to a local rodeo, a ARA, or just kind of an amateur rodeo, and we would laugh and talk and laugh at each other what he got drawed. It was a fun part. And in the PRCA, it wasn't fun. It was too much like a job. So we created that after I heard Perry and watching them talking to the other teams and laughing at them. You ran off the track, and ours is more like the fun part. Let's have fun. It didn't cost anything. You had a good time.
Yeah, you may have something. You may have something to that. Maybe the phrase "keep it amateur" actually means that actually that goes a lot further than people might think. And over the years, I've heard many people say that they cannot believe that you have a competitive event without huge cash payouts. And I'd love for you guys to, for people that don't know and don't understand how it works down there, explain how you guys do pay out your winners, and explain how the Chuckwagon bucks work.
One of the things that we won't have is like your tarps, your name of your team. It's Hog Eye number 2, Needmore Cattle Company. What name some of them? Dumb and Dumber.
Yeah, Fast Cattle.
One time, Jimmy Dean set up over and promoting his sausages, and those guys, they said, man, this will be a good place. Jimmy Dean will have a team here next year with his name on it. I said, wait a minute. Next thing I know, Jimmy Dean and Walmart and Dodge is going to put all of us poor people out of business. They're going to have real fast teams, and we're just using our riding horses. So we made up a rule. If Jimmy Dean has a team, he's got to be in that wagon. Well, that's out. I said, okay, you can't run a tarp with a commercial advertisement unless you, the CEO, the owner, is in that team, own that team. So that cut the money out of the teams. We don't have to have the money. You don't have to have a big team of big thoroughbred horses. Just bring your rope horses, bring your old trail horses, hook them up. But we wanted to give them, instead of money, we wanted to give them something. You can't give them a jacket or Harley because it's the wrong jacket, and we didn't know who won. So Peggy came up with this Chuckwagon bucks, is we'll give them some Chuckwagon bucks and let them spend them along the vendors and buy your prize. Man, I won 300 Chuckwagon bucks, and I bought me a saddle, or I bought me a bridle, and look here, where'd you get that? I won this, but you get to pick it. So you trade them Chuckwagon bucks in for your prize. And that kind of keep the money out. You know, you can't make an alimony payment, you can't make a truck payment with it. But I bought something at the wagon race. That's what I've wanted.
And it also helped that to create a good vendor row or vendor show, because they have to spend their money there. So our vendors a lot of times get their whole setup fee back in Chuckwagon bucks, or a big part of it anyway. So it helps get a better trade show, plus it keeps the money out of it, and you have something to show. If you win $500 cash, you may pay your light bill or your truck payment. You have nothing to show for it. But here you've got, Dan said, a coat or a saddle or a bridle or something like that. So that's where
I think across the board, whether it's the buckles you hand out or it's the every 5 years that you guys hand out, like the token of appreciation. I think that the way that you guys do things it's very much a part of how you've preserved that the culture that is there, and it's neat to see how the Chuck bucks, as we kind of call them, they kind of just supplement that ecosystem that is self-contained right there at the races. Like you guys say, keeping the money out of it, and we could go on and on about that, but it's such an important part of what makes your event special, in my opinion. So it's such an original thing, the way you guys do that. And as it grows bigger and bigger, and how it's grown big for almost 4 decades now, it's grown bigger and bigger. And I guarantee you there's people every year that say, at some point there's going to be really big prizes in this or something like that. And I just think it would change the culture. I think that the way that you guys have stuck to your guns and kept it the way that it is, keep it amateur, if you will, it's really preserved what you created. And it's cool to look back at how, like, year 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, there's a lot of things that have not changed at all. And that's a beautiful, that's how you're doing it right. So kudos to you guys. And it's cool to see that maintained, that the spirit is the same.
Having watched Dad, participate in the Snowy River race and win, I got to see this firsthand. And having been a vendor, I've been on the other side of that with the Chuckwagon bucks also. And so I totally get that. And it's kind of it self-fulfills, because when you do that and you take care of your vendors, you will get vendors that will bring a quality product to your event that, a lot of that will have something worth going and getting when you do win something.
Yes.
I think that's a big deal.
Dan's always said we're not having any flim-flams and hoopty-doos at the races. When
Right.
pots and pans, these people say, I sell pots and pans. It's like, nope, sorry, that's not our cup of tea.
Yeah, and like you said, if you handed out cash money, it would go home. And I had this exact same discussion with Dad. I was like, if they'd have handed him, $300 or $400 or whatever it was that he won in cash, he would have spent the next, couple of weeks spending it on hamburgers and French fries, and it would have been gone, and he wouldn't have had anything to show for it. And the way that it turned out, he went to Todd, the leather guy, Todd Fuqua.
Todd Fuqua, yeah.
Yeah, he went to him and, got a set of chaps, and then he went and found him a saddle pad somewhere in a head stall and stuff. I mean, he still has that stuff, so I agree wholeheartedly with the philosophy behind that. I think it's great.
I got that riding across it one time, a PRCA rodeo. I want to go around, and they hand you 22 silver dollars. That was their 22nd annual. And they handed me 22 silver dollars for winning a go around at a PRC rodeo. And I don't know how much I won. I don't know where I spent it, but I still got my $22. I still got them. It's kind of like your dad. I still got something I won.
Yeah, definitely
It's
is part of
the money probably at a beer joint or something. I would have.
Right. No, it's cool to see how you guys have how you've made such a unique event. And so I want to segue a little bit into kind of how over the years you've had this really fantastic word of mouth way of promoting things. And then I know that you guys also, having just edited a documentary series about your event, I know that there was a video camera on in the early days, and that was really cool to use some of that footage in the series. But when did you guys, when did you first decide that you were going to have a video made for the event? Kind of, I came in 15, 16 years ago and it was well established, but when did you guys start actually having a crew come in and create a video?
Golly,
You remember he taped, he was from over Pleasant Plains, and he had one of those cameras you could take and put on the tape and
gosh, I don't remember that. I do remember, like, in the early 90s, 91, 92 or something like that, there was a group of guys out of Snowflake, Arizona that came and filmed a couple years, and we paid them. And I can remember it was 1996. I believe it's 96. He was up there on the bluff, and we hear and didn't think anything about it. And, he kept filming. Something happened. He had audio, but he had no video.
no video.
No video. And we
sold,
we
sold 100 tapes and no.
we sold videos there at the general store, but nobody knew that until he got home and got to editing it. So we had to put together, send him footage and stuff, and we made a bloopers tape that year.
Wow.
And I think that might have been the last year they came with us, because I think they didn't make any money and it was too much travel time. And that's when Flavie
Rodeo Videos.
Rodeo Video was the name of it. We met them out at the national finals one year.
We
were
went
there.
back out the national finals and walking down the trade show, and we seen all these people around a TV and looked over, and it was a wagon race. They were promoting the wagon race
to sell their
to sell their videos.
Wow, that's awesome. So that's crazy. I've never heard that story. So the video goes out, all you got is audio. And so you guys essentially had your first podcast back in 1996 is what you're telling me.
Yeah, we've always been ahead of our time.
Oh
my gosh. Well, fortunately now the production is scaled up a little bit, and we've got a small airplane called a drone flying over the track. We've got several cameras running. And if one goes down, we'll probably still be okay, knock on wood. But there's so many things to talk about when you talk about the National Championship Chuckwagon Races, but you guys have an opening pageantry that is second to none. And maybe those kids aren't professional horsemen yet, but the fact that it is the youth that are out there doing the pageantry, putting in the work, it gives me chills just talking about it right now. It's one of the most incredible things. And so passing that pride for your country and for the flag down to the kids at that point in their lives, establishing those core values. I think just taking your kids out there and letting them see the kids that are out there and getting, all the love and the praise and the attention from the crowd and from Danny Newland on the mic. It's just it's an incredibly inspirational thing. And they do, you guys and the people that put that on is the McJunkins. Is that right?
yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Man, awesome presentation that they do. All right. So I'm going to start segueing towards the end of this thing, but you guys, you've seen the sport of chuckwagon racing expand, and you've seen it grow. You've seen it go through some dips over the years. And now you see that the association, the Arkansas Chuckwagon Racing Association, is beginning to experience some significant growth in their memberships. For example, you see these outlaw races that are popping up, and that's something to be proud of for you guys for sure. But how do you see the future of chuckwagon racing evolving as we move forward into the future?
If the association, they've got a good leader now, and he's asked me questions before. You've got to make it fun. You can't just have the race. A lot of the association members, the race, most of them, they all race, and they're trying to win. They're not thinking about the performance of it. They're just thinking about, I don't care what we do, I just want to win. But now they need to think more and more about the performance, what the crowd wants to see, how exciting we can make. You can't just run one wagon by itself or two wagons because one gets way out ahead. You need to run where the announcer can have a good call at the finish line. Here they come. Is he going to catch? And they need to work on their performance more and help the landowner, the producer of it, help him make some money. You know, it's not all just. One time a rodeo association said, we proved that we can have a rodeo without a crowd if the contestants will give enough money for the stock charge. Well, that's not what they need. We can have one and not ever invite anybody, but you got to have a performance to get the crowd that's not involved, get them wanting and loving to come back. And need to have some entertainment with that for the crowd. You know, not just chuckwagon racing. Probably need to have a little dance afterwards, and maybe a little parade downtown for the people. Get a production out of it for the crowd. That's what I'd suggest to them.
Yeah.
And one thing other, when they had so many rules, it's kind of like our government. They so many regulations that be let them come. Well, leave that thing open. Well, we'll do it this time with y'all. We want you to be a part of us. You know, we want you to, here's what we can offer you. We can bring you the racers. Bring the racers, then what else can you do for us? The association. Figure something you can do for them. Get them. You need to get them. They're out there wanting to have a race, and you want them to be a part of. You want to be a part of association, but don't let them get away. You know, if you were going to use your own judges, okay, use your own judges. Whatever, get them. You know, that'd be my opinion.
Well, and I can say with confidence that for all of those different racetracks that are out there that are trying to grow and they're looking for that way to get over the hump or to get to the next level with their event, you know, I'll just go ahead and say it for you, Dan. Call Dan Eoff, and he will gladly talk to you about the things that he's done. And if you want to cut the curve on some of your pain points as you're growing, you know, talk to some of the best right here, because just like Dan's always been with everybody, he's an open book, and he's lived it. He's got all the experience. So give the guy a call or walk into the Western store sometime, because the door's unlocked and they're talking to everybody that walks through the door. And just, you know, their house is your house. That's been one of the most incredible things about you guys over the years. It's just all the generosity. And I think that's part of what makes your event and everybody that comes back just so impressive from the outside looking in. But man, I had one more question.
David, more of these races they have around will going to benefit us. All the little rodeos they have helps the national finals. You know, all the little league baseball helps the World Series. So we want to help them. We want them to be successful. It'll help us down the road. It'll help all of us. And when they come to us, we can tell you what not to do. You know, don't order 25 porta potties your first race. Don't be out a lot of money. Just have a good time. Don't be out any. Then see what your crowd in your area wants to do, and see.
And try to get people from your area to participate.
We don't need the boys over in the east. They tried to get us to come over there. Get your own people. Fix some kind of a wagon race event for your people that's got the wagons. You might have a one horse wagon race, but get your local people entered. Whatever it takes, enter them. That's my opinion.
Yeah, that's really good advice, and I could agree with that at a high level, because you know, in the world of promotion and marketing, the reality is you have got to build a foundation somewhere, and you need to build it with the people that are right there within your community. Even though we're trapped into this, you know, we feel like we're trapped in this world of social media and this huge outreach, and we've got to, you know, go to the biggest named influencer or sponsor or whatever. At the end of the day, what's going to really build a foundation for a good event, I believe, is build it there at home, build it with your people that are around you and the people that want to be a part of something. And so you guys are a great testament to that. So we're about out of time here, but I just want to open the floor to you guys real quick here and talk to our listeners and let them know what's coming up at the 39th annual, and maybe give them an invite directly if you'd like.
Well, sure. We love to have more new people come in. We've got a lot of new camping area that we've opened up.
Yep.
Dan's had the bulldozer and the track goes busy all winter long. I think I've got another child, the backhoe operator. He's been a part of our family now. He's just like a child. You just keep giving him money every week.
I think we're going to have something we've never had before. Our donkeys, they're going to be up there at the Buffalo Rock, and we're going to drive them down to the arena. There'll be around 20 of them. I've never been on a donkey drive. Have you? We're going to try it. They don't drive like cattle. We clean off the bluff with them, and they're a little different now. And but we're going to try it. They might get away, but we're going to try driving donkeys. That'll be one of our new events this year.
And
What day is this going to happen on?
That's on Sunday.
Sunday.
We have the horse drive off the mountain. Then we're going to have the donkey drive.
And I think during the ranch rodeo, we're going to have a new event.
You think we better tell it anyway.
Yeah.
We're going to ride buffalo. We've got Glenn Gay's cousin going to bring us some buffalo, and we're going to ride buffalo in the ranch in the campers rodeo.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that's a Friday night event then.
Yeah.
That's
wow.
That's awesome.
We've graduated from camels to buffalo.
That's right. Same. Yeah. Oh.
So yeah, that's something I'm sure a lot of people haven't ever seen, so they might want to come for that. But we've got our music lineup. Wednesday night's going to be Lori Morgan and Leroy Parnell. We have Tyler Halverson, Jake Worthington, and then Saturday night up on top we have Jake Hooker, who's a really cool cowboy type singer, Western swing, and then of course there will be Mike Johnson at the Buffalo Rock for those brave enough to and young enough to go down there.
You're on your own down there.
That's incredible. Well, you guys heard it from the source. We're gonna have some buffalo bucking over there at the ranch rodeo on Friday night, and there's gonna be a donkey drive, which I've never heard of it. I'm excited to see it. I know we're gonna capture it and bring it to you if you miss it, but that's gonna be Sunday. That's exciting. Well, Dan and Peggy, it's always so good to catch up with you guys, and I know that we could talk for hours on end, just like we've done many times there at the Western store. And I just want you guys to know how much I appreciate you and everything that you do and what you've done creating the sport and what you continue to do for the sport. And as much as anything, thank you for coming on the podcast and talking to us.
You bet. Love you, David.
Love you too.
See y'all soon.
I thought there's something going on there.
Oh, get out of here, Dan. Come on. Yeah. We'll talk to you later.
Bye now.
All right. See you guys. So, takeaways, guys. What were some key takeaways there? Anything that stuck out for you guys that gets you excited for the championships?
There's a lot of new stuff going on. I think that's when you have something this big, you've got to continuously change things up, or else you'll get monotonous. But I think there's a lot of new stuff going on that's going to be pretty exciting, and I look forward to the Buffalo. I mean, Buffalo bucking or whatever it is. That sounds pretty cool to me. Should be pretty exciting.
I hope that they just sneak one in to Chase Outlaw's Chuck and Buck, and like one dude just like comes flying out of the chutes on a buffalo, and it's just like a complete mess. Oh man.
Absolutely.
Well,
that will be a complete mess if they do that. Like, they're not going to respect a crowd like a bull at all. I mean, they're going to go right through the middle of everyone.
Oh man. Yeah, well, you would know better than me. My experience around buffalo is like if I'm driving on vacation somewhere and I see buffalo, I'm like, hey, look, there's buffalo over there, because I have not been around buffalo.
I have some friends up the road that they train cutting horses, and one of the things that they use to train their horses with are buffalo, and when they get to a certain age, they're completely unmanageable. So, I mean, they do not respect anything at a certain point. So yeah, I doubt seriously that you will see them buck one out in the chuck and buck. They could make a liar out of me, but
Yeah, well, hopefully they don't then.
I would highly recommend that you do not do that.
Welcome to the shit show.
Yeah. So, so as far as like kind of the history and stuff, I mean, obviously I've sat and interviewed these guys for hours, but as far as hearing the history and some of the stuff in the past, anything that stuck out to you guys, you know, kind of just hearing some stuff from their mouths that maybe you didn't know before?
Well, for one, I would say, of course, you know, the fact that they didn't have any kind of buckle or anything like that for their very first race, that was kind of interesting. I mean, you know, and the fact that they did it for their second race, but then they went back and gave the buckles to the people that did the first race. You know, that just shows what kind of people they are, and that's really respectable.
Yeah, I feel like you see that kind of stuff still. I mean, so much of the heart and the spirit of what the races were when they started has just transcended time down through the years into here we are, you know, 2024, and you still see this stuff happening, and you still see so many of the things. I mean, the song "The Great Wagon Race," which is what I named the docuseries after, written by Junior Thomas, written in 1986 after the first year down there. It describes the event so wholeheartedly, and it still applies today. If you get a chance to ever go listen to that song, it describes the races and the spirit of the races perfectly. Another thing that I thought was, you know, I love kind of picking their brains about really what makes the event unique and successful. And I think, you know, for the race aspect, why behind the racers doing what they do, you know, you think about being a top level competitor and how you dream to make the millions or whatever, you know, this is not that event. This is a bragging rights event. This is you get to wear that buckle on your belt for the rest of your years when you go and you get that right there at Clinton. You know, they talk about how money would change the event, and I can't help but just completely agree how the event would not be the same if it was about winning the money. It's like if this year they decided that the grand prize was $10,000 or $20,000 or $50,000, it would instantly change the event so much. And so, you know, maybe it would change some things for the better, but I just don't think that it ultimately would. I think you keep the professionals out of it, and you do it amateur. You know, I love that. I love that about their event, and it's about the production. That's what he said too, and that's so true. If you are putting your crowd, your spectator first, and making sure that they are entertained, well, as long as there's a show, the people are going to fill up the seats, and you're going to sell tickets, and you're going to sell campsites, and you're going to do the whole thing. And that's what's always mattered the most to Dan, you know. And I think that's what matters to the people that are racing. They want to put on a show, and they want to feel recognized. You know, Peggy says that. And that's one of the things that makes it so neat. Everybody that comes to the race gets to participate somehow. Even if you're a spectator, you are a part of the National Championship Chuckwagon Races. So, you know, I just think that's part of what makes it so magical when you go there, and it's not like anything else.
Something that he said that hit really close to home for me was when he was talking about the difference in when he was going to, you know, like a PRCA rodeo or something like that, and how serious everybody was and how it just really took the fun out of it. And I've personally witnessed that. I've seen an organization start that was a lot of fun, that had a lot of attendance, and I've watched it get serious, and I've watched the attendance drop off. And that, I think that's the fastest way that you can, I don't know, maybe not ruin something, but that you can, as you said earlier, that you can completely change the culture, you know. And I don't believe necessarily that it's for the better when you do that. And so that really struck close to home when he said that, because I've watched it happen. I've lived it. So that was interesting to me to hear him say that.
Yeah. I absolutely agree. I think when he was talking about the sponsorships and stuff like that, when he was talking about Jimmy Dean and him getting a wagon next year, you know, what that's really cool, because when you look at the Canadian Chuckwagon races, all over their wagons, they've got sponsors and they've got this and that.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like the NASCAR of Chuckwagon racing.
Mhm.
But when he talks about keep it amateur, you know, you're talking about not being able to have anything, because if you think about it, like Chase Outlaw was saying, Monster saw this, they want to be a big sponsor of it. You know, if you could imagine some of these race teams that win first place year after year and them getting a Monster sponsorship and Monster dumping tens of thousands of dollars into their race wagon and this and that, you know, it's making it unfair for the people that are there just for the weekend, like just to participate, you know, that don't win. You know, it's just absolutely unfair for them. So then it takes the fun out of everything. It's not as competitive anymore, even amongst the people that are in lower heats.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I can't agree more. Yeah, there's a lot of, it's almost like every time you get to talk to the Eoffs, there's a little bit of revelation that kind of comes in. And like I said, humble people humble other people. And so it's there's been some cool takeaways, and I'm sure that I'm going to think of a lot more stuff when we get off this podcast, but maybe we have some follow-up when we come back together. So, all right. So looking forward to our next episode of the CWC podcast. We will have a very special guest, Brad House, the president of the ACWRA, the Arkansas Chuckwagon Racing Association, and front runner to take the championship buckle in the buckboard for a third time in 2024. So that'll be a great episode 5 as we get to kind of pick his brain about the association and how that's growing, and also how he's preparing his team to go and try to take the title for a third time in a row. So let us know in the comments below what you'd like to hear from Brad House. Let us know what you'd like to hear from us. And we're going to do anything we can to get out there, get the news, and report it to you so that you hear it first. So if you like the show and you want to consume more Chuckwagon content, make sure you subscribe at chuckwagonchannel.com and follow us on Facebook at the CWC Podcast. Thank you as always for listening, and we'll see you out on the track.
Thanks for listening to the CWC Podcast.